People Not Titles podcast is brought to you by Land Trust Title Services, your partners for results. Well, hello, I'm here with real estate legend Wayne Paprocki. This is Steve Kemp with the People Not Titles podcast. Wayne, welcome to the podcast. So glad to have you.
Pleasure, Steve. Look forward to talking with you.
Yeah, Wayne, we've been in circles for a long time, and I've seen you've done so many things, and I just wanted to really highlight a couple things. Number one, a lot of folks are somewhere in the process of their career decisions that they make. And so I love to talk about what got a person started, what were their motivations, and some of the things they've navigated. So talk to us about how you got started in real estate.
Well, it goes back to years ago when I read a book by a gentleman that a lot of people know, Andrew Carnegie, and he said the majority of self-made millionaires made their money in real estate and owning businesses.
What was the book, Wayne?
It was basically...
Was it How to Win Friends and Influence People?
No, that was somebody else.
Okay,
another one.
That was Dale, right?
Yeah. But anyway, Andrew Carnegie wrote the book. I think it was just called, How to Be a Millionaire.
Okay.
But anyway, that made me realize, why do I want to rediscover the wheel? If it's owning businesses and being in real estate, I'll do that. So I've been through a number of businesses, starting them up, selling them, starting them up and selling them, staying with a few. And then all of a sudden, I started doing speaking for corporations. My first clients were PepsiCo, General Electric, etc. Still have some of them. And all of a sudden, a gentleman said, why don't you get on the real estate speaker circuit? They're doing these Graduate Realtor Institutes programs all around the country. It's a whole week. We travel. It's a good life. Started teaching at GRI. And all of a sudden, about 2 years later, somebody said, now, what office are you with, Wayne? I said, by myself. Commercial or residential? I said, what are you talking about? Real estate. Your real estate house. I'm not a realtor. I'm a public speaker. I speak professionally. Well, you gotta have a real estate license. So I thought about that. Real estate. Went to a community college for $50, and my God, my life has drastically changed.
Wow.
With large productions, a lot of training, moving to different offices, starting companies, and I still do a lot of real estate training, mostly negotiations and wealth building for real estate agents. Because Steve, I find that many agents don't have an exit strategy. They make good money, or lots of money, or very little money, but they have no way of exiting. They don't plan for retirement, and they're independent contractors, so there's probably no big company pension someplace. So I teach agents how to buy investment real estate, and at least buy 2 a year. My philosophy is you should buy at least 2 a year for your retirement plan in the process.
Fantastic. And how long have you been teaching this, Wayne?
Started at it's been a long time. I actually met a lady 2 years ago who said, hi, Wayne. Probably don't remember me. I said, no, I don't think I do. She said, I took your investment seminar 50 years ago, 1972. So I guess that's the first time I actually started. Real estate career didn't start till 81. And then I'm still doing real estate now.
And this woman that you talked to, was she buying? Did she practice?
She owns 68 properties.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, so, okay. So, I heard 2 days ago, 46% of agents last year didn't do a deal. And what do you think is the key that separates the doers from the watchers? Well,
to me, it's rather simple. Many people that don't produce find it easier to make excuses than to make goals. And so they make a lot of excuses, and they don't think of it as a full-time career. So they're not dedicated, they're not disciplined, they don't have the desire, and they're not determined to make it work.
They're hobbyists.
And it sounds like a good career. Some try to do it part-time, which is very, very difficult these days with a few exceptions. And all of a sudden, the market has changed, so the strong survive. And so a lot of people just don't do a lot of business.
Okay, so let's talk about these agents that are building, because you've talked to people about building wealth through investing in real estate. Wayne, what was your first real estate deal that you did?
I was able, because I had no money, like many people, grew up very poor with my parents.
Okay.
In fact, my goal in life was to own a home that the address was a whole number, because I grew up with halves. I lived at 242 and a half, 3856 and a half, 1888 and a half. We never had our own home. My parents never owned. So I looked at some books. I read a book and went to a seminar with Robert Allen called Nothing Down. And I pulled him aside after the seminar and said, one more thing you haven't told anybody yet that you would tell me. He said, if you're going to be serious about this, you want to be a pauper on paper. I said, whoa, what's that? He said, you want to be a pauper on paper. Put everything in a trust so nobody knows what you have, nobody cares, you just do your thing, and you got a lot of protections legally, but you're just a common person, not a big real estate mogul. So that was very good advice. And I was able to go to college towns and started buying up older homes, converting them to 2 units, and renting them to housing choice voucher people and students who were on some type of aid. So I had above market rents, 2 rents coming instead of 1 rent on the house, pretty easy to convert, and I did a lot of that in college towns. So my first deal, because I had no money, had a lady give me a 12% contract for deed. That was my first property, 12%.
And where was it?
It was in a college town in DeKalb, Illinois.
Wow, Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So after that, how many now are you still actively investing, Wayne?
I am deactively investing.
Okay.
The height of my investment strategy is 186 properties.
Amazing.
I'm probably down to 20 maybe. I'm not sure. But it's time in my life to say, okay, I'd rather reap the benefits. Instead of raising rents, I can sell a building for income.
So Wayne, people always ask, when there's some guru out there talking about stuff, why aren't you just doing it instead of talking? What's your passion behind sharing with people? Because you're clearly a person that's practiced what you preached, and you still have the intensity to preach it. Why?
Well, first of all, every home I rent, they get a rent with option to buy.
Okay.
Because I like them to be a homeowner as soon as they can.
So you have a passion for home ownership.
Because I never had it growing up, and now I have it, and I watch what it did for me. Let's share that. So number one, they have a rent to own. That helps me in 2 ways. I get above market rent, and they take better care of the place in case they might buy it.
Okay.
So, and some do buy, and some just rent. But I've got a lot of long-term tenants, and I've got a lot of people that bought houses through me.
So you care about the people that are doing business with you.
Yeah.
Okay. And why? And what about you preaching it to the real estate, audience in general? What's your drive behind that?
Well, I'm a salesperson by nature.
Okay.
And it's hard for me to believe that you're not buying something you're trying to sell somebody.
Oh.
I don't want to go into the Mercedes dealership and watch this guy pull out in a BMW or vice versa.
Yeah.
Why not drive the Mercedes if you're selling them to me? So if I'm selling real estate, why aren't I buying real estate?
Okay, that's powerful.
That seems to me pretty logical.
Yeah.
If you believe in it, you do it.
Yeah, and so there probably is some correlation between the success you're having in real estate and whether you're an owner or not.
And I'll tell you another story along that. One of my clients years ago was a large life insurance company, and I happened to be asked to be on stage to present the awards to the people that earned $1 million in commissions. This is over 20 years ago. So they were working their butts off.
Yep.
And I looked at their production, and I looked at how much life insurance they owned. The top 10 people were number 1 through 9 in the highest amount of life insurance they owned. They sold a lot of insurance, and they bought a lot of personal insurance. They believed in what they were selling.
I love it. That's fantastic, and that's what's at the heart of.
That's what sets me up.
Yeah. Okay, Wayne, I buy that, and I like it. That's a great answer. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. Right, you're on the board. You're finishing up your last year on the board over at NASBAR.
That's correct. That's correct.
And talk about that journey that you've had with NASBAR and what your passion
I've
is
been
for
with
the
NASBAR for a long time. I've served on several committees. In 2015, I was president of the board. I've been on various committees. Still, I'm on various committees, and I'm very active in Illinois Realtors, and I'm very active at the state. I was on the state real estate board, IDFPR, for 12 years, which was the maximum. I've been through 3 governors, and I serve on a lot of other business committees. A lot of them related to real estate, because I just enjoy giving back and sharing, and somebody's got to do it. And I'm glad to see now that there's a whole new regime coming in.
Yes.
But I'll still be a good advisor in the process.
That's great. We're part of Land Trust Title Services, and we could have easily gone and done other things in terms of our ability to close transactions, but we chose to partner with associations as well. And now we're at NASBAR. There's a closing going on as we're actually doing this podcast. And so thank you for that connection. I think agents, there's a question as to the importance of associations, the power of association, now with the NAR settlement and those kind of things. Talk a little bit about what the association's plans are to really be supporting the agents going forward.
First of all, I got to thank you because of my philosophies we get by giving. And you're here, hopefully, because of my input.
100%.
But we've been able to speak at your various locations. Michael Lafito, my partner, and
Absolutely.
I do negotiation training. He does luxury marketing training. So it's been a win-win, and I'm watching this come to fruition, and I'm glad we have such a good relationship.
Absolutely.
But with that said, the settlement is really a settlement, and there's a lot of miscommunication. It's not a new law. It's nothing that shouldn't be done. I started in this business over 40 years ago. I read the preamble of the Code of Ethics. It said back then that NAR suggests the exclusive representation of clients. That meant buyers and sellers. So for 40 years, I've never had a buyer in my car that never signed a buyer agency agreement. So that's not new to me.
Yeah.
It was basically a sign that said, buyer, get out of my car, but I never worded it that way. You got to sign and get out of my car too.
Yeah.
But we got to get a signature on a document to show how we best work together. So this is nothing new to me. It should be done. It's been in the Code of Ethics for 105 years.
Right.
So with that said, it's just people not used to doing it or realizing nobody asked me to do it. So now they have to do it. And the compensation process has changed. A lot of things will happen, but in most cases, not much will change if you've been doing it the way you should be doing it to begin with.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, and now buyers, agents are explaining their value proposition. They're determining, hey, I've got to buy. You're not going to work with 5 agents while you're working with me. It's like you want to date or you want to get married here, and I'm going to help you find your home, and I'm going to be committed to that. And so that's a big piece of the professionalism that you offered from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
That's
well,
excellent.
I suggested that.
What else, in terms of your speaking, you are doing CLEs, right? You're doing various agent education. Let's talk about this social media thing that you have going now. Forgive me for what.
Social media has impacted everybody's lives. One of my best friends is probably the top social media guru in the country, Marky Lemons Ryle. And I've always liked to learn about it and stay up with it. I mean, I've tried ChatGPT when it first came out, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, I was talking to a company that approached me that's been doing social media marketing for athletes who have endorsements from large companies to see which of the 5 best social media places should they be marketing themselves at to maximum exposure. And they asked me if I would help develop a platform for realtors. So with their expertise and my thoughts, they developed the Realtor Marketability Scorecard. And it allows an agent to add 10, 15, or 20 competitors and do a thorough analysis on a daily basis of all the 5 social media outlets and how they're comparing to those top agents, what they're doing, what they're not doing.
In their marketplace.
They can pick their 10, 15, or 20.
Okay.
They could do 5 if they wanted, but most of them do 10. And boy, the data it shows is where I'm not doing well, where I should be, or one agent's only doing in Facebook and not doing Reels, somebody else is doing Reels and not doing this, somebody's got photos. But it lets you see what everybody else is doing immediately. You look at all their ads, look at all their posts, anytime you want to determine where you should be maybe changing your way of presenting on the 5 social media platforms. So we're launching it in various parts of the country. We field tested it in Houston, because I'm down in Houston a lot training, and their board has 40,000 agents.
What's the feedback?
It's amazingly productive. Agents need to understand all they can do with it, but what they see, they're amazed. So that when the process of presenting it to boards to resell for value, and to companies, and to organizations that might want to market to realtors.
Awesome.
Like yours or any other.
Excellent. And also, Wayne, you are now, so we're going to be checking, and we'll have the information in our show notes on this product. You and Michael Lafito. Michael's an associate of mine as well. Michael closes his business at Land Trust. You've started with a new brokerage, LPT.
Yes,
and tell me why. What's exciting to you about this brokerage?
Well, the owner is Robert Palmer.
Yes.
Robert Palmer, LPT, originally stood for Listing Power Tools.
Yep.
You would order a white box of stuff when you took a listing, and everything was there. The flyers, the this, the that, you name it. Your business cards with pictures of the house on the back. And I would use that with the companies I was with. Well, all of a sudden, I liked that power concept. I liked the concept of how the real estate market is allowing different kinds of competitive models. So Michael and I started many years ago together at a company. He left one company, I left one company, we went there. We liked that for a while. Then we decided that now we're at LPT and kicking off the state of Illinois because Robert Palmer just opened the state of Illinois up. So
Congratulations.
we're anxious to recruit agents, show them the options, show them why it's a better plan, and see if they're willing to make a change or maybe start with us.
Yeah, and you have a whole curriculum that you teach alongside Mike's luxury curriculum as well, right?
I do.
Just how to be productive and how to...
I do two major designations. One's the Certified Negotiation designation, and the other...
People Not Titles podcast is proud to be sponsored by Land Trust Title Services, your partners for results.
And the other one is a Certified Investment Agent Specialist. So agents get certified in how to be an investment agent, number one, to buy for themselves, and number two, to get other clients to buy investment property.
Mm-hmm. And are those designated? So I love it. The negotiation, do they have to sit through it live? Is it available online?
We used it online during COVID.
Okay.
I prefer live seminars.
Okay, so you run live seminars. It's not like you can sign up, click on a button, and take the course. They have to attend one of your live sessions, and then they have access to you, Q&A afterwards, camaraderie with other investors and negotiators. Each one is 2 days,
and so it's just, there's a whole different world in teaching live than teaching Zoom.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And so I can do more interacting. I can do better role playing, because I love to do a lot of role playing in the negotiation class.
Okay.
And the certified, when we got a lot of Excel spreadsheets and data that needs to be identified, you can't tell what people are doing online when you can do it live.
So what led you to teach people about negotiations? Is it, I know that people get a license and go, oh, I'm ready to make money. Not so much, right? I need sales skills. But even after sales skills, I need to be able to negotiate. Why is that so powerful for you to be teaching others?
Well, I was fortunate to look for people I thought knew a lot about negotiations and hooked up with the Harvard program on negotiations at Harvard. And it's the best in the country. The major first book on negotiations was written by Bill Urey and Roger Fisher, called Getting to Yes. Mm-hmm. And then there's other major authors. We have a great one up here in Illinois at Northwestern. And I start to realize as a consumer, because I also do a lot of consumer seminars called the 10 Commandments of Wealth Building. And one is basically how to negotiate and complain effectively. And because some people don't know how to negotiate or how to complain.
Yeah.
They screw up both parts of that process.
Yeah.
So with that said, it was one of my 10 Commandments. And then I looked at some of their material and followed a lot of the other people that spoke through the school. And then I saw a realization that you can negotiate anything. And to me right now, in the entire world, the only thing I can't negotiate is my water bill. I can negotiate electric, gas, contracts, all kinds of things.
Yeah, you can even negotiate with the IRS.
You can, exactly. That brings up an interesting concept about being audited every year, which we can go to at some other time. But the point is that
People Not Titles podcast is proud to be sponsored by Land Trust Title Services, your partners for results.
Point is that, so I mean, number one, it's a personal use product, but most real estate agents don't know how to put together a collaborative negotiating process. They get very competitive. It's win-lose, 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 win-lose. All they get down to is price. So with all the different strategies to be collaborative, all the ways to attack competitive negotiators, how to deal with compliant people, you learn a much better way for a win-win and blend your style with their style.
Awesome. I love it. So know who you're negotiating with so you could adjust.
If I know more about you than you know about me, I'm in control.
I like that. Okay, let's talk about the investment seminar. What do people get who want, and this is for agents.
It's a Certified Investment Agent Specialist designation.
I love it. In this competitive marketplace, when there's a lot of people looking to throw their hat in the ring in investment, in the investment world, you having that certification separates yourself, so that's great. But what do agents get in terms of real knowledge? Are they able to better analyze deals? Talk a little bit about that.
Definitely. We have a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of ways in which they can analyze properties and change numbers fast, and just other general information about what's going on around the country, comparisons in their local market, hooked up to a lot of online services some people don't even know about, and just all kinds of ways to understand how to work with a rational decision in negotiations versus an emotional decision in your home. And a lot of people aren't so sure how to work with rational. And then I spend a little time I'm strong on the DISC personality theory, dominant, influencing, steady, and compliant. And I like to blend profiles. So now I have to look at my investor, if they're steady or compliant, and I'm dominant, or vice versa, how do I best work with them? I'm sold on buying investment property. That's why I tell all my agents, buy at least 2 a year. So if I see in 10 years, do you have 20? If I see in 15 years, do you have 30? If I see in 2 years, do you have 4? And I met a lady at a banquet last week. Haven't seen her for several years. She started with me 3 years ago. She owns 4 income properties.
Wow.
She works for Exit Realty.
Excellent. So people are practicing this.
They do.
Yeah, and you have taken the same strategies that had you accumulate 186 at its peak, and now you're sharing them with others to help them get there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because the bottom line is, I'm sitting here at my age and never can collect $1 of Social Security because I never put in. I realize that kind of a system can't work.
You've been an entrepreneur all your life.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes. It'd be hard for me to have a 9-to-5 job.
Okay, that's great. But yet you still work so hard, Wayne.
I probably work more smart than hard.
Okay.
Because everything overlaps and coordinates. When I
Okay.
started selling real estate, I had to capture my market share, and I like multiple streams of income. So I started my own home warranty company, my own home inspection company, my own interior design company, and my own home and home remodeling company. So sometimes I would generate more income off the ancillary businesses than the commissions on the sale
Okay.
in the process. So that's the mindset of mine. And it all tied together in real estate.
All right, Wayne, I want to talk a little bit about personal self-development. So what are some of the practices that are there daily things that you have done that have kept you in the game?
I still do.
Okay.
First of all, I have a mantra I say a lot to myself.
Okay.
Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Until you
self-talk.
can do as good till you're better, best. Because nobody's perfect. Not my best, my better, best. I say that many times. But years ago when I was consulting at PepsiCo, the chairman of the board gave me this beautiful picture. And as you walk closer to it, it's entitled 1,000 words are worth a picture. Kind of a play on a picture's worth 1,000 words. And there's 1,000 words of advice color-coded. And so every morning I wake up, I go down to my office, and I start walking towards the picture. And if I see green first, I pick the green phrase. That's my motivational mantra for the day. Been doing that.
And what's the green phrase?
There's many of them.
Oh, I
There's different
see.
colors, but I'll say I'm going to do orange today.
Okay.
So I'll find an orange one someplace. I haven't been for a while on the thing. Get closer and read what it says, and that's my mantra.
Okay. That's fantastic. And what about goal setting for you? People have different, Michael Jordan, I never set a goal, but then I had it in my mind and all these different things, and yet he achieved a bunch. How about for you? What is goal setting? How, what are some of the basics of it? How do you do it? And how would you advise others to, get that lined in?
I have a simple seminar I do called Set Your Goals to Shoot Par.
Okay.
And I've been fortunate to have a very strong right brain and very little left brain. So my left brain logic is not great, Steve.
The right is a creative.
Is my creative
Yeah.
feeling. So I can create acronyms.
Okay.
So set your goals to shoot par, P-A-R. Practical, attainable, and reasonable. And golf is a game of par. So if we went to play golf, you pick the course. I don't care where it's at. We're going to play 18 holes. I guarantee you I will shoot par on that course. You may be better than me, but I will always shoot par because I set my goal to shoot par.
Wow.
Provided we have cart and something liquid to drink on the carts. That's all I ask for. And I carry a stick with me. It's a little stick. And we start counting our shots. I count every shot. If par is 72, when I get to 72 strokes, I put the stick in the ground and I'm done playing that day. But I go home and people would say, "How'd you do, Wayne?" "Shot par." Nobody asks if you played the whole 18 holes. So each time I play that course again, I'm going to go a little further.
You sound like Michael Afito on the golf course, actually.
Could be, could be. But I just believe you don't have to set the goal to finish. I shot par.
Okay.
I just quit shooting now, and I'll drive the cart around and drink.
Yeah, and so when you look at it, and there's people who say, "Oh, I bought 10 properties." That's it. You're like, no. Just wait a second. Buy 2. That's it. And don't buy that third. Wait till.
Well, you can buy 3 if you want. I don't
understand.
care. But the bottom line, at least 2.
At least 2.
At least 2.
Yeah, that's par.
Yeah, that's par for me.
Yeah.
If I buy 2 a year, and if you want to buy single family, if you want to buy townhouse, if you want to buy a multi-unit, I don't really care. The only advice I give is I personally never owned condos because of the assessments.
Okay,
I worry
they could
about
change.
assessments being raised and I can't make a profit. But I like single family.
Okay.
And I like converting single family.
Okay. What is the biggest surprise that that investors have when they do their first or second or third? When they get involved in real estate investing, what's something that most people don't expect?
They're not great at good tenant selection, so they have problems. They have problems with issues come
Giving
up.
people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, this person said they're going to do this.
Trying
blah,
to
blah,
be
blah.
too nice when somebody's late, not assessing a late fee.
Okay.
And this is a business.
Yeah.
And I have to understand I've got to do better tenant selection. I pride myself on housing choice vouchers. People think, oh my God, you rent to those people? Well, they're not those people. They're people who need a place to stay. They're subsidized because they qualify, and I like them. But I select good housing choice voucher tenants.
Right, and housing choice voucher tenants have to behave in a certain way to continue to stay in the program.
They
so there's
take
some guarantee.
such good care. They don't
Yeah.
want to lose their voucher.
Right.
And I get
These are
above
a lot of
market
single
rents.
moms, stuff like that, where you just like these are people that really need a place.
And I just renewed a September lease, and HACC gave me a 10% rent increase. It's hard to get 10% rent increases on non-housing choice voucher tenants. And so I got long-term tenants. They're subsidized. They take care of the place. And the other ones I'll do rent to own. So they take care of the place and sometimes need 2 or 3 years to build up enough money for a down payment.
Okay.
Or they leave and I made extra rent.
Okay.
It's a win-win.
So Wayne, you said PAR, practical,
Attainable
attainable,
and reasonable.
and reasonable. What else is important? I reached my goal. Now what? How do I get inspired for the next goal?
There's a whole concept out there in psychology called id, ego, and superego. And to me, the id is your inspirational dissatisfaction. And I'm strong on Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Okay.
I really believe in that strongly. And obviously people get from physiological to safety to love and affection to self-esteem to self-realization. But sometimes people get stuck because they get comfortable. To move to the next level, to eventually get to self-realization, I have to be inspirationally dissatisfied. So I'm a lousy loser. I'm not a good loser. This is where Mother and I had a problem. She wanted me to be a good loser growing up. Every time I didn't win, oh, go congratulate them. You got to be a good loser. And I think I was learning to be a good loser. So I'm thinking, this doesn't make any sense. I'm going to be a lousy loser. And so I'm a lousy loser.
Wow.
And if I lose a deal, I'm upset about it, but I learn from it. It's experience I won't make again as a mistake. And I go to the next one. Next is the magic word in real estate investing. If the numbers don't work, go to the next one. If the numbers don't work, go to the next one.
Don't try to make them work.
Don't try, if they're not going to work, they're not. It's a rational process, and many people think of it as too emotional. I'm not moving into that place I bought. I made some mistakes thinking that at the beginning of my career.
Investing into it, making
And
it so nice.
oh
blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
exactly.
blah.
Nice wool carpet
Yeah.
like I would like.
Yeah.
Way.
You're not living there.
Bad move.
You know, so an old colleague of mine, Pete Dawkins. I don't know if you know,
Sure.
heard of him, but he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Absolutely.
He said, "Show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser." You know,
There we
so
go.
to your point of being a lousy loser,
lousy
it's
loser.
okay to be a lousy loser. I
Yeah, I'm
think.
a lousy loser.
That's great.
And I had the privilege of spending a lot of time with the Chicago Bulls because my neighbor was Doug Collins years ago.
Okay.
And so I'd listen to some of their craziness after a game. And one thing Michael Jordan said intrigued me. There was a game where they were losing, and Michael just told the team, just start giving me the ball. I want to make points. I want to win this game. They didn't like to lose either. So they were passing him the ball. He'd shoot and make it. Pass the ball, shoot and make it. They won the game. So they're at Doug's house, and Doug says, Michael, it was a great game, but I got to tell you something. We're a team. We're a team. And there's no I in team. Michael Jordan looked at the coach and said, Coach, you're right. There is no I in team, but there's an I in win.
So you got to bring your best self, right?
Yes.
I love it. There's an I in win. I heard also that he said, but there is an M and an E in team.
That's true. That's true too.
Wayne, let's talk a little. I love that story. That's great. Let's talk a little bit about balance, right? Work-life balance. People talk about that all the time, but what I found is most people are worried about balance because they don't like what they're doing. And so all of a sudden they're trying to say, oh, I'm going to do some things that I like, I'm going to do some things I don't like. Talk about how you manage balance with family. You have a family, you have kids now that are grown. How did you manage that with a passion for entrepreneurship, traveling, all that?
Many years ago, I had the privilege of being at Lambeau Field, underground with Coach Lombardi,
Wow.
talking to a bunch of recruits. And he looked at us, and his shoulders up here and his hat on. Gentlemen, starting today, only 3 things will be important to you. Your religion, your family, and the Green Bay Packers, in that order. And it hit me. Because I would look at people, and I see a lot of people. If you start to analyze the ones that seem to be not doing it the right way, they got those 3 out of whack. I don't want to talk about the first one. That's not for me. But I never put my job before my family. Never. No matter what it was. I would lose out on something because I had to do something with my family. And I still think the first one's very important too, but that's for somebody else to talk about.
Right, right.
But I always felt religion, family, and job in that order was to be really down to earth, self-centered, and you could live with yourself each day and wake up happy.
Yeah, and that's great, Wayne, and I'm sure that manifests its way in a number of different things. But a lot of people use their family as a reason not to get after it in business. But really, it might be their real priorities might be Netflix, NFL, and all of a sudden job down here, as opposed to, oh, I'm putting my family first. I'm home with my family. And I found that if you have those 3 things, you can still achieve a ton and never really get out of whack.
And you have to realize something. Everybody has the same amount of time.
Absolutely.
I don't get any more time than you do.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago from reading and from doing, if you master your time, you master your life. If you waste your time, you waste your life.
Okay, so what are some of the keys for you for mastering time?
I have a program I call Smart Time Management.
Okay.
SMART. Schedule my time. So I got a schedule. M is for make my time productive. Am I doing the highest priority activity? Should I be delegating?
Okay.
Opportunity cost. Why am I doing this if I can be doing that? Then I have to allow time. Like right now, traveling to Chicago, you have to allow an extra half hour from here because of construction. Simple fact of life. Then you have to ration time. In real estate, not everybody deserves the same amount of your time. You got A clients, B clients, and C clients. Same thing with your family. Some family members take more time. You want to spend more time. Some others you don't want to spend as much time with. Then you have to take time to just watch the flowers and smell the roses.
Take time. I love it.
SMART, Smart Time Management.
Okay. That's great. I love your acronyms. So let's talk about this. A lot of people would say, Wayne, you're just lucky, right? You just fell into it. Let's talk about luck.
Be glad to share that one. I'm at a Houston hotel during a PGA golf tournament for a week. Speaking, Gary Player is at the same hotel. A world-renowned golfer years ago. Some people never heard of him at this stage of their life. But he gave me some advice. We started talking, had breakfast together. And he said, what do you do? I said, I'm a speaker. I'm here to do this convention. He said, let me give you a story. He said, when I first came to the States, I was winning a golf tournament. And back then, they only covered the last 4 holes. And he started out on the last day, and every single hole, he had a bad shot. Behind a tree, in the sand, in the rough, but he got out of it amazingly well. And every announcer said, another lucky shot by Gary Player. Another lucky shot by Gary Player. And he wins the tournament. Now he's on TV in an interview. And the announcer said, Gary, this is amazing. We have never seen a luckier round of golf in the history of doing any televised shows. And he looked at him and he said, I don't know what came up to me, but it made me realize something. I'm a professional. I work hard. I prepare. And whatever happened, out of his mouth came these words. He said, you're absolutely right. This was the luckiest round of golf I ever played. But I realized something as a professional. The harder I practice, the luckier I get. And so I took that and created my own near formula for success. Because I believe luck is an aptitude, not an attitude. Can I share that formula?
Absolutely. Aptitude, not an attitude.
Yes.
So aptitude is a skill, actually, that you develop.
And so here it is. I take self-esteem, high on Maslow's hierarchy, plus knowledge. So I know that I'm good, and I know what I know, what I know, what I know. That gives me confidence. Confidence is an amazing concept, because if you multiply it by enthusiasm and pride, you become pretty successful. But let's just take self-esteem plus knowledge equals confidence.
I'm with you.
L-U-C-K. My definition of luck is laboring under confidence and knowledge.
Wow.
Now, substitute my two pieces of confidence, and now luck says laboring under confidence, knowledge, and more knowledge. That means there's more knowledge to luck than there is an attitude. I practice, I prepared, I'm ready.
Is that what you've experienced in your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the lucky people really know what they're doing, right?
I look at people, I find out things, I can go on Google, I got all kinds of search engines.
Right.
I'm back to control. I want to be in control, because that's how you spell success, C-O-N-T-R-O-L. I'm not a good speller. The bottom line is that I've got to stay in control. But if you know more about me than I know about you, I'm not in control. If I don't have a plan B, a plan BATNA, as Harvard calls it, I'm not in control. And so the secret is to be in control. And that whole concept of self-esteem plus knowledge equals confidence tells me there's two knowledges in my L-U-C-K. So it's more of an aptitude than an attitude. Now, I'm not saying attitude's wrong.
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
It's
my mentor, Zig Ziglar, for years, man, helped me out tremendously among many people. He has that famous phrase, it's your attitude, not your aptitude, determines your altitude. I agree with that, but I still believe luck is an aptitude, because there's a lot of knowledge that goes into being lucky in whatever I do.
Especially long range, right?
Absolutely.
You might hit it here and then never hit it again, and that could be luck, lottery, whatever. But to develop Gary Player type skill, to get out behind the tough shots, get out of the bunker, behind the tree, luck. Laboring under confidence and knowledge. Brilliant.
Works for me.
Awesome.
Works for me. Hope it works for somebody else listening.
Yes. Wayne, there's so much to learn from you. I'm going to highly recommend that anyone who can get to Wayne, to one of his, you just see you get a lot of bang for your buck, Wayne, with you. The wisdom just flows, and I could tell we could sit here for hours and talk. I also want to put a plug in for NASBAR's facilities. They're fantastic. If you are an agent and you're not a member of NASBAR, time to become a member. There's a lot of different benefits. They constantly have events going on. I see they have a car show this weekend. They just had installation, those kind of things. Plus, we're recording this very podcast in their podcast room. And so if you are a NASBAR member and you happen to be watching, take advantage of Mike, the great producer here, and the podcast room. So, Wayne, anything else you want to add to this conversation?
A couple things. First of all, yes, NASBAR has a facility available for agents to come and use if you're bringing clients in. Plus, I know we are the premier association in Illinois, probably in the country for our size, and we have the ultimate best technology department, which is a big aid to agents these days with all the stuff going on that needs to be done. So staff is wonderful. It's a great place. We do a lot of events, and we're growing. And I think we're going to get bigger and better in the process. But it's a great place to be. I would just hope that people realize that this whole process of real estate investing is a year-to-year basis to start creating more passive income. I think a person's goal should be to go from active income that I have to work to earn versus passive income that I don't have to work to earn. And slow but sure in this career path, ease your way out of the active income. I was selling 70, 80 listings 25 years ago. Today, I don't carry near that many, but I also have more income coming in from income properties. I have much more passive income. So my goal would be, as a real estate agent, think of your first year in the business. How much did you make? And then can you turn that into a monthly income? Can you take your first year annual income and turn it into a monthly income? And then if you're serious, can you turn your monthly income into a weekly income? And if you really get lucky, can you have one deal where your weekly income becomes a daily income?
That's
now there's a goal.
Yeah.
To go from an annual to a monthly to a weekly to a daily.
That's a big vision.
And I tell you, once you did it, you know you can always do it.
Awesome.
I remember my first time. That was good.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate
my pleasure.
Your conversation here. This is the People Not Titles podcast. Steve Kemp signing off. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening to the People Not Titles podcast. We are proudly sponsored by Land Trust Title Services. If you enjoyed the podcast, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and we'd love it if you'd share our podcast with your friends. Thanks a lot.